Hello and welcome, Bobcat fans. It's the final game of the 2012 regular season, and your Cats have made the long journey to play Starkville Academy, a Division II South AAA opponent. As we draw the curtain on this year in football, we'll take a quick peek at the playoff scenarios in front of us. Coming into this contest, PCS is the 2 seed in South AAA Division I behind undefeated Jackson Prep. The Bobcats would face the winner of tonight's MRA and Jackson Academy game being played at the Brickyard, the Raiders' home field. At stake in that battle is the 1 seed for North AAA Division I and the right to host your PCS Bobcats next week. Starkville is locked into the 2 seed in South AAA Division II behind East Rankin after the Patriots defeated the Volunteers last week, 34-29. Starkville is in a similar situation as PCS. They are unaware of their playoff opponent or even where they'll play next week. The Vols will be waiting to see who takes tonight's game between Magnolia Heights and Washington School. Magnolia Heights is the 1 seed at this point, but the winner of that game will take the number 1 spot and host Starkville. Starkville enters this game off a narrow loss at the hands of East Rankin, as we mentioned, on the road, where they have played 3 of their last 4 games. The Vols are 3-2 on the year at home as they celebrate senior night here tonight. Starkville has wins over St. Andrews, Leake, Hillcrest, Capaya, and Winston. Losses this year have been against Heritage, Magnolia Heights, Jackson Prep, Park Lane, and East Rankin. You recognize a few of those latter names. PCS continued their dominance of schools outside the Jackson metro area last week by traveling down to Amite, Louisiana to defeat Oak Forest 35-14, running their record to 8-2. This marks the 3rd consecutive winning season and 3rd season in a row with 8 or more wins. The school record is 9 wins, set 2 seasons ago when this senior class were just sophomores. So your Bobcats will be seeking to tie that record here tonight with the chance to break it and tally double-digit wins for the first time ever, hopefully in next week's playoff matchup. With that, I will introduce my broadcast partner for this evening's game, Chip Jones, who joins me for the 2nd week in a row. Chip, you've been around PCS as high school principal for several years, coached through some of the beginning years of the football program. Tell us what a win tonight would mean and what kind of state the Bobcat program is in with 3 straight seasons of 8 wins or more.
Well, Nathan, thanks for having me back tonight. A 9-win season, making the playoffs again, would be a really big step forward for our program. This is my 9th year as principal, and when I first came here 8.5 years ago, PCS was just moving into AAA, but we were moving into the Division II level, and but we still had to play the big boys, the Preps and the Park Lanes, but we are now in that Division I, that big category, and so being able to compete at the level we have, even though we compete in the bigger classification of AAA, has been a real step forward for our athletic program. And this group of seniors certainly are a great group, and they have been a huge part of the success that the Bobcats have had for the last several years. One clarification on that is that really the game to watch tonight is down in Macomb, where Jackson Prep has to beat Park Lane. If Park Lane were to upset Prep, my understanding is it would be a 3-way tie, and we probably would lose the tiebreaker. So that's a game to be watching tonight, and really important for our playoff hopes.
We will keep our eyes on that game as well as several others. Like you said, if Park Lane is able to upset Jackson Prep tonight, it would be a really, really bad news for the Bobcats. But if Jackson Prep is able to keep their undefeated season alive, that means PCS would make the playoffs, and they would then travel to Madison Ridgeland or Jackson Academy, as we talked about earlier. And so we'll be keeping an eye on that MRA JA game as well as another game that has more to do with Starkville than with PCS, but Magnolia Heights is playing at Washington, and there is a big mess up there between Magnolia Heights, Washington, and Heritage. and the point spread between the two. Magnolia Heights sits at the 1 right now. If they lose by 8 or less, they still go, but Heritage gets the 1, and there's a whole big mess that goes along with that, and that's who Starkville will wait and play next week. Now, earlier this evening, I was on the field and had a chance to chat with head coach Joey Hawkins, and while we're hitting the coin toss here, we're going to listen to that interview with Coach Hawkins for just a minute. I'm here on the field just before the kickoff with head coach Joey Hawkins. Coach, just a quick thought from you. Tonight, you look at the last game of the season. You're on the road. Third straight senior night you're playing on tonight. What are your thoughts going into this game? What do you look to get out of this one?
Well, we just want to protect the football, move the change, and defense. We're playing a lot better. We had our best week of practice, and I hope that carries over tonight. But main thing we'll do in the last game, with the playoffs basically decided, you want to get out with a win, and our kids want to round out a 9-win season going into the playoffs.
You talked about the playoffs, and another 9-win season would tie the school record and look to go into the playoffs for that 10th win. And awaiting you still don't know. You're waiting on MRA, you're waiting on JA. Are there any feelings either way as to who you'd like to play, or just happy to be there?
No, we just want to continue to get better, and I think next week we'll be healthier than we've been in a long time, and so we're thankful for that. But no, we're just going to prepare as hard as we can. We've improved in a lot of areas, and so we're excited about the playoffs.
Starkville being so far away from Hattiesburg, it's an unfamiliar foe, although we've played them last year for the first time in a long time. Just give us a quick preview of what is so dangerous about this Starkville team.
Well, they run the triple option, and if you don't do your responsibility, you can have a long night. They'll be moving the football, so they're going to make some great plays. They got some great athletes. Drew Pelham's probably one of the top quarterbacks in the league, so we're just going to have to make some great plays, get them off the field some, hopefully create a couple turnovers, and that'd be huge for us, Nathan.
Thank you, Coach. It's been a great season. Look forward to the postseason.
Thank you so much.
That was head coach Joey Hawkins just before the game, and you heard him mention a couple of names there. One in particular was Drew Pelham, the quarterback, and this Starkville team is going to run the triple option, as you heard, and the quarterback obviously is the most dangerous when you get into a situation like that, but he'll wear number 5. Number 3, Colby Runnels, another downhill fast running back. On the defensive side, in the middle, Trip Jansen, along with linebacker Stephen Robertson, will be guys to keep an eye on for Starkville. Well, we saw a little bit of a different approach last week, Chip, from PCS, and they came out and went to the air a little bit. We saw almost a little bit of a coming out party for Daniel Patterson, as he was very efficient, moved the ball down the field, and scored 4 first-half touchdowns, 3 through the air and 1 by way of the ground in that game at Oak Forest. So what would you expect to see here in this game as we get ready to kind of shore things up? We get Lee Sigris back tonight, see how he can do it. As both of these teams have sewn up playoff games, what do you think would you expect from these two here tonight?
Well, first of all, Daniel really stepped up in a huge way last week in the absence of Fate and Lee. And we really needed that senior to step up and get the job done, and he sure did, along with several other folks. This week, with Lee back and available, we probably will still keep throwing it because Daniel really has come a long way and really is doing a great job at quarterback. But I think we probably would see a little bit more of a balanced approach. Hunter Norton was tweaked a little bit in practice this week, but I talked to him today. He assures me he's full speed and ready to go.
All right, we've got the whistle for play, and we're about set to kick this one away. Starkville won the toss and deferred to the second half. So sending this one off will be 64, Jonathan Burton. And as you heard in our interview with Coach Hawkins, there is a little bit of wind out there. You can see the flag there blowing. We've got a great deal of wind to deal with here tonight, and PCS will start with the wind in their face as that kickoff sailed into the end zone for a touchback. A little bit of a rain falling as well, a low drizzling rain supposed to be here for the first part of the game and toward the end as we get set for this one. So PCS will come to the line. They have split receivers Henderson and Addison with Jones in the slot to the near side. Norton is the tailback behind Patterson. He'll take and give to Norton up the middle for about a 4-yard gain there. Tackled on the play by Drew Harrell, middle linebacker.
Yeah, just a straight dive play to Hunter Norton, and we've got about 3 yards on that play, so sets up a 2nd and 7.
Addison will check out, and we'll see Tyler Young come into the ball game. He'll be split in the slot to the far side with Henderson, flanking him out wide. We see Jones in the slot there and Norton the slot on the tight side. Reverse side to Norton there. He's going around the left side, spin move, and he'll get a short gain on the play. Gain of about 2 there, bring up third and about 6.
Yeah, Starkville played that one well. It was the hawk formation, fake the motion, fake the dive, and hand it to the wingback coming back around towards the slot side. But Starkville played it well and short gain.
Micah Griffin will check in on the offensive side this time. Addison and Young will split wide to the near sideline. I formation with Broadhead in front of Norton. Young in motion. They fake it to Norton. Rolling out is Patterson. He'll tuck it and keep it. He's up near the 30. He's got a first down. He'll step out at the 34. Good run there from Patterson to move the chains.
Nice job by Daniel Patterson. Faked the lead up the middle, bootleg to his right, and really didn't have an open receiver, but all the DBs were further down the field, and so Daniel turned it up and got about 10 yards and a first down. Nice play by Daniel.
Bobcats running in a lot of personnel, several different formations here early as we're about 10:38 remaining in the first quarter. Henderson will go wide in the Hawk formation. Tight end to the left is Morgan.
Sigrist in for the first time tonight.
Motion, they give it to Norton back around. He'll hop a couple of defenders and gets about a yard there, really out of about nothing. So a good job by Norton to get it back near the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, again, Sigrist' first play tonight used him as a decoy to fake the dive and then handed it to Hunter on a wing back around, and the Volunteers played it pretty well. Volunteers looking like the Florida Gators tonight.
Oh, we've seen that twice this year. Went over to Columbia Academy. They looked like the Florida Gators, and we were able to churn up massive amounts of yardage on the ground in that game. And so far, most of the damage, or all of the damage, has been done on the ground in this one as well. Broken I formation with Burks in front of Norton. He'll get the toss left side. Cutting back, he's across the 40 to about the 41. See where they'll spot that one. Good reading of his blocks there by Norton.
Yeah, just a basic toss sweep. The Volunteers read out quickly. Were able to get about 5 or 6 yards. Brings up a 3rd and 3, but just a very basic toss sweep and try to get around the left side.
Burks will stay in at fullback, and we'll see what formation back to the standard I with tight end to the right. Receiver to each side. Young is on your near side. He goes in speed motion. Snap, draw play to Norton, left side. He's got the first down, cutting back near midfield, and that's where he'll be brought down from behind by, looks like that was Austin Miles, the senior. Here again on senior night. This is the 3rd senior night in a row. So,
yeah, nice job by Daniel Patterson to sell the pass that time. Handed it to Hunter Norton on the draw play up the middle. Nice gain, first down. The Volunteers are running a 4-man front, 3 linebackers, and 4 deep secondary against the Bobcats.
Second, 3rd down conversion on this play, and we see the Hawk formation with Addison split near side. This is to give middle. Sigrist trying to weave his way. He picks his way through there and is tackled at the 45. Ball came out at the end, but they'll mark him down. You definitely don't want to see that. The ball is slippery out there, but Lee's last carry we saw him have was against Parkland, and it was a fumble. So
yeah,
you want to make sure that he's carrying and secure with that football tonight.
That's right, but glad to see him back in the game. Probably about a week earlier, we thought he'd be out these last 2 games, but really just missed 1 game. So let's hope he stays. Hope his injury doesn't flare back up tonight.
6-yard run by Sigrist sets up 2nd and 4. Same formation. Jones motions this time. Fake the end around, looking, still rolling is Patterson. He'll tuck this one across the 40 and step out of bounds, enough for another first down. So Patterson showing good decision-making, excellent coverage downfield by Starkville on that play.
Yeah, and Daniel's ability to run and throw really puts the defense in a tough spot. As he's rolling out, you had 2 or 3 receivers that could have easily popped open. So the secondary really had to stay back and respect those, which left it open for Daniel to get the first.
Ball resting at the Starkville 38-yard line. Just over 8 minutes to play in the first quarter. And we see a tight bunch formation to the left of Patterson. He tosses that way to Sigris, trying to get outside. Hits a defender 8 yards downfield, and he's dropped right there. Good gain up near the 30-yard line.
Yeah, an overloaded formation that time. The Bobcats had a tight end that was split about 2 yards and a slot inside and a wingback outside, and just tossed it that way and had maximum blocking on the corner for Sigris.
And that's the thing you'd love to see is good plays on first down, set up second and third and short yardage situations. That's what we have here. A 2nd and 3. Go back to the eye. This is Norton on the counter right. He's got the first down. Ball is out. He tried to get 1 extra yard there and got a helmet put on the ball, and Starkville's able to recover it. So a long, sustained, good drive on the ground there by PCS, negated by a turnover. Starkville will take over. 7:21 remaining first quarter. Ball resting at their own 24-yard line.
Yeah, nice run. I don't know how wet it is down there. It really didn't rain that much, but it is cold, windy, and slightly wet. But Hunter running hard, fighting for that extra yardage, and all just popped loose.
Some of those you just can't help. Then helmet hits that ball square, and that's just a matter of physics. That ball is just going to pop out. So we see 2 split ends in a similar hawk formation for Pelham. He gives to the fullback up the middle. That is Runnels, and Runnels will have a short gain of about 2 before several white shirts. I see Justin Giroux. I see Dakota Harvey. And let's see who the big man is. Alan Winford in there to get the tackle there. So it'll be a gain of 2. Under 7 to play now, first quarter.
Yeah, the Bobcats loading the box. They've got a 5-man front and 4 linebackers, so really covering the 2 wide receivers one-on-one with cornerbacks. And the 2 safeties are walked up tight, really playing more outside linebackers looking for the option.
They send 2 receivers to the near side this time. Late substitution coming on the field, and Starkville will have to burn a timeout early here as there was some confusion over personnel. We've got 6:38 remaining first quarter, and this game is very reminiscent of last year's contest. Both these teams had assured playoff victories, playoff spots last year, and went into the last game just trying to take care of a couple of issues, make sure that everybody was sharp and mentally prepared, didn't want to get anybody hurt, and lo and behold, Drew Pelham, first few plays of offense, gets injured and has to miss the rest of the season. So you definitely don't want to see that, but both these teams are fighting for wins. They want to end their season the right way. PCS wants to get to that 9-win mark, tie the school record. Starkville wants to get to 6-5, get that winning season, and move on into the playoffs with a chance to up it to 7. Shotgun with 5 receivers for, this is Runnels, and we'll go a little wildcat here. Runnels will give it. Ball came out, and Robbie Morgan is there to pounce on that one. So the Hunter Norton fumble doesn't cause too much damage. No harm, no foul. Robbie Morgan recovers a fumble for PCS, and that actually puts the ball a yard, actually exact spot where Norton lost the ball.
Yeah, that's a huge break for the Bobcats. The Volunteers were trying to option to the motion man coming across. It looked like the quarterback was truly trying to read that, whether to keep it, whether to hand it, and sometimes in that, mishaps happen.
Shotgun for Patterson here with Sigrist off his shoulder. Fakes it to Sigrist, looking, throwing in the flats to Jones. He's got it, turning upfield. Hit out of bounds at the marker. Nice pitch and catch there from Patterson to Jones. Saw that duo explode last week, this time for a first down.
Yeah, just from the hawk formation, Steven just ran an out route. Daniel hit him quick, some open room there, and did get a first down. It is, no, not inside the 10-yard line, so still can get another first down.
1st and 10, that just inside the 11. They go I formation, broadhead in front of Sigrist. Going back to that Starkville fumble, that was Runnels, the usual fullback, running the Wildcat quarterback and trying to hand it to Colt Cressman, a freshman who's moved up and finding playing time. Left side, Sigrist inside the 5, and he's into the end zone for a PCS touchdown.
Just power running right there. Double tight ends, eye backfield, Robbie Broadhead leading off the left tackle, and Lee finding a seam, cutting back, and just powering his way into the end zone. Nice play, nice run.
So the first score of the ball game goes in the way of the PCS Bobcats. 6:22 left first quarter, and Waits will come on for his first extra point attempt of the night. Into the wind, may I remind you.
Yeah, from this distance, though, it shouldn't be a problem. Jones' snap is good, Broadhead's hold is good, and Waits' kick is good. So that puts PCS up 7-0 with 6:22 remaining in the first quarter. Huge break. Bobcats had a sustained drive, fumbled it deep in the Volunteer territory. Volunteers had it for 2 plays, fumbled it right back, and the Bobcats made them pay this time. So Volunteers fumble away a great chance to stymie the Bobcats, but long way from being over here. Volunteers are in the Division II of the South AAA. They are coached by Coach Jeff Terrell. Coach Terrell, a long-time community college coach. I even coached with him 1 year years ago at the high school level. Fine man and fine coach. So the Volunteers are always competitive, always coached well, and we'll have our hands full tonight. This game is a long way from being over.
You mentioned Coach Terrell. He came on for the 2010 season, and in that year, he saw a moderate win total in that year, 4 wins, I believe, and then the next year, 2011, all the way to 10 wins. So Coach Terrell definitely has this program headed in the right direction. High kick comes down to Runnels at the 10, trying to get a wall of blockers in front of him. He's still loose, still running down the sideline, and he'll be brought down across the 35 at about the 37-yard line. Nice reading of the blocks there by Runnels, and you can see the wind affecting that kick from Waits, kicking into the teeth of that wind. Ball just hung up in the air and enabled Runnels to come out and make a run back.
Yeah, the Volunteers really had to almost catch that one on the run. The wind caught it and held it up. But once he did, he headed to the left side, and our guys bounced off. It appeared the cold weather may be impeding their ability to tackle a little bit, but they better get over that quickly. Kickoff coverage has done a great job this year.
Second possession, they go right back to the Wildcat for Runnels, and this is the same play that he keeps it this time, reading back, slips and falls down behind the line of scrimmage, does Runnels. So trying to make his cutback, a little bit of the rain coming into play there. The fate was to Crestman.
Yeah, really kind of a cutback there. Normally in that, the quarterback would go to the right, but kept it and came to the left. But we had it well covered, but as he tried to make a cutback inside, slipped and lost a yard, actually.
Under 6 remaining first quarter. Back to the same formations. 5 wide, Wildcat formation. Runnels will send a man in motion. He takes it. He'll keep it right. Zone blocking. He'll cut back, and Giroux is there. Griffin and Addison will come up in support. Short gain on the play. We'll set up a 3rd and long situation. It'll be about 3rd and 8 for the Volunteers.
Yeah, that was just a pure keeper, direct snap to the quarterback in the shotgun, and he just turned and ran it to the right, almost like just a toss sweep to the right.
It's easy to see why Colby Runnels is running this Wildcat. You want to get the ball in his hands as much as possible. Very, very stout running back. Had a very impressive season last year. Well on his way this year, and he'll go shotgun. This time he's flanked off his left shoulder by Zach Slaughter in the shotgun. They run option. This will be a pass for Runnels, being pressured and finally tracked down by Allen Winford back behind the 30-yard line. So a big sack there by Winford.
Well, really didn't get his name in the tackle, but Robbie Morgan made that play. Robbie at right end did his job of containing the quarterback on the rollout and kept it stringing out long enough for Allen Winford to close from the inside.
Back to punt for Starkville will be number 64. Jonathan Burton, wind at his back, and this young man has a very strong leg. This one end over end will go out of bounds. Oh, no, it bounces inbounds and then inside the 25. We'll see where the officials will spot it. And I mentioned I watched this pregame with this kicker, and Burton has all the tools as a punter. I saw him from midfield. He was putting it high, pinning inside the 15-yard line on a consistent basis, backing it up. Got the distance, strong leg for his field goal. So I'll have to keep an eye on that if he has that wind at his back where they may try a kick from. So PCS will take over for the third time, leading 7-0, over 4 minutes to play first quarter at their own 23-yard line.
Well, Starkville did a good job of getting that punt off. The Bobcats actually were in their block formation. They call it the assassin. But they did a good job of blocking, picking up, and getting it off.
Overload, 2 tight ends left, 2 fullbacks right. Counterback left, Sygrist weaving his way, and he won't have much there. Good penetration by that Volunteer defensive line.
Yeah, we put our strength to the left on the line and then put 2 blockers to the right, trying to create misdirection there. And the Volunteers did a great job of staying home and snuffing that one out for a short 1-yard gain.
Both the tight ends will come out, and both fullbacks will go back to more of a speed formation here. Addison, Jones, Griffin, Henderson, and Norton, who was in the shotgun with quarterback Daniel Patterson. 2nd and 9. They give it to Norton, pitch it back to Jones on a reverse. He's having to weave his way through Volunteers and gets a gain out of nothing there. About a 4-yard gain there for Jones. Nice run will set up 3rd and 4.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the outside linebacker or the cornerback, but stayed home well on the reverse, and Stephen had to weave his way through and slow up to do that and let the coverage get to him, speed coverage get to him. But still puts us 3rd and 4, long 4, short 5. Doable for the Bobcat offense.
They go power I with 3 tight ends. Broadhead is in front of Sygrist. Turn and give to Sygrist. Cuts back left. He's not going to have the first down. He'll be short by about a yard. So it'll be 4th and 1 from their own 37-yard line. 38-yard line, we'll call it.
Coach Hawkins likes to go for it, and I believe he will. He does. If he's got 4th and 1, more often than not, he's going to go for it. And that's exactly what he's going to do.
2:20 to play first quarter, and Coach Hawkins will elect to go for it here on the 4th down situation. 4th and along 1 yard inside his own 40. See that same formation, the big power run formation. Have to hurry to get the snap off here. Under 5 on the clock. And Patterson looked like he was just trying to draw Starkville off sides and calls timeout.
Well, he was, but the play clock was also winding down, Nathan, so I don't know if he was going to run a play after he was trying to draw him off or not, but the end result is Daniel had his eye on the play clock and did a good job of calling the timeout. We'll see what Coach Hawkins will do, punting or going for it coming out of the timeout.
We sit at 2:01. We mentioned how Coach Terrell had this program headed in the right direction, and just looking back at a couple of stats from 2006 to 2010, this volunteer program had a total of 12 wins, and in that 2011 season, when Coach Terrell came on board his 2nd year, they amassed 10 wins and a berth in the Division II championship game and had 6 wins this season. Last year, they were 6-0 at home. This year, however, just 3-2 here in Starkville, so home field advantage played huge last year in that 10-win campaign. Coach Hawkins will keep the same formation and go for it here on 4th and 1. And now Starkville will call timeout. And we're going to take this break with them. We'll pause for just a moment and be back with you here on the PCS Sports Network. We welcome you back to the campus of Starkville Academy here as your Bobcats have traveled the long road north to face the Volunteers. And it's 4th and 1. Coach Hawkins lined up to go for it twice, and we've had successive timeouts, one by each team. And now we'll come out with a slight variation, power I to the left. Overload to the left. Give to fullback Sigrist. He's at the marker. Looks like he's across. And he'll get progress up to the 40 before he's driven backwards. It'll be enough for a first down, I do believe.
Yeah, Lee was in the fullback spot. And
Andrew Burks,
there we go, excuse me, was in the left power I power back and led Lee up in there, and Lee just fought. Didn't get it by much, but his forward progress definitely got it. So 1st and 10 on almost about the 39-yard line.
Moves the chains, and PCS has the ball under 2 and counting here in the first quarter, leading 7-0. Young splits wide to the near sideline. Turn give to left side Norton. Speed through the hole there, and he's met in the secondary by number 6. That's Zach Slaughter, who makes a tackle, and it's a good thing he was there, because if he had not been, that 8-yard gain might have gone the distance for a 61-yard touchdown.
Well, you saw Hunter Norton's speed there. Hunter was in the eye and just led up right behind the right guard, and he just hauled it the whole way and found a seam behind one of the Hudson brothers and Tanner McGowan on the right side, and found a good 8-yard gain there on first down.
Young will split to the wide side. Henderson comes near side on the 2nd and 2. They give back Norton left side now. He's got the first down, and he'll be across midfield into Volunteer territory.
Again, looks like same play, just to the left side this time. Hunter doing a great job tonight running between the tackles. Last week he ran real well outside. Didn't quite get as much. And I think we're going to have a sideline warning here. I see a flag over there. Yeah, we're going to have a sideline warning against the Bobcats. That really has no bearing on anything the first time. But if it happens again, it could.
Be a personal foul penalty. And you think, go back to last week against Oak Forest, and I don't know if you could tell from watching the film, but the tight quarters there at Oak Forest, I remember 2 years ago, Cade Martin got tackled in the field of play and slid all the way into the fence on the sideline. And if you can avoid a sideline warning at Oak Forest, you should have no problem anywhere else.
Yeah, but still a little tight here. The Volunteers have a
Patterson looks for Young down the left sideline. He's got him inside the 20. Nice throw there, Patterson to Young for a 35-yard completion. However, we've got a flag on the play.
That one's coming back. They're going to call a hold, I believe.
The flag was resting at the feet of Tanner McGowan.
Yeah, that was a nice play. Tyler was just lined up at the split end to the left, and Daniel just threw it out there. Actually, in my opinion, the defensive back didn't play the ball. He knew he was beaten, and he ran straight into Tyler, who caught it anyway. Should actually have been offsetting penalties, but the Bobcats didn't get the deep call, but they did get called on the holding.
Tyler had an excellent get off the ball there, broke the from the snap, and was able to shed the coverage by the cornerback there and get behind him. And Patterson here in this cold weather throwing into that wind. You don't know if that wind might have held him up from that, maybe negating a touchdown, but Young did an excellent job of coming back to the ball, bringing it in. However, back it up 10 yards, and we'll have a 1st and 20 with 38 seconds remaining in the first quarter.
Actually, that's from the spot of the infraction, Nathan, so it's really 1st and 25 because Tanner or whoever it was actually 5 yards deep when the hole occurred.
Draw play to Norton, left side. He's got some room. He's at midfield, and the only man there to hit him almost drags him out. Hunter makes a diving effort, but I think his foot was out of bounds. They mark him out just across the 50 into Starkville territory at the 49.
Yeah, nice run. Nice call by Coach Hawkins. Nice run by Hunter. Actually gets back half the yardage, so it should be 2nd and 12, 2nd and 13. Just a draw play that Hunter broke to the left side and headed downfield into open field and got a lot of that yardage back.
He gets out of bounds to stop the clock at 26 seconds. So we may be seeing the last play of the first quarter here. We'll see Henderson split wide in the Hawk formation. Jones in motion. They give the end around to Norton. Good block from Henderson, and Norton charges up across the 45 to about the 42-yard line. Out of bounds, stopping the clock at 21.
Yeah, key there was our left wide receiver. I don't know if that was Tyler or whoever, but made a nice block on the cornerback without a holding penalty. The cornerback was trying to come inside to get to Hunter, and the receiver did a nice job of blocking without holding.
That was Rand Henderson on that block, the young receiver. He'll step out, and Addison will give him a breather. We'll go Hawk formation again. Jones in motion again. They counter it back to Young, dancing around, trying to find his way through, and good job by the Starkville defense to penetrate and drop him for a short loss on the play, setting up 4th down.
Yeah, number 44 for the Volunteers. I don't know if he's a linebacker or a defensive end. Did a good job of stuffing that hole, and it looks like the Bobcats are going to punt, but fortunately the end of the quarter, and we'll get to punt with the win.
Well, that's Josh Crittenden you mentioned on the play there. Well, interesting thing here. We'll have the wind at our backs, still blowing the flag straight out there. It'll be interesting to see if Coach will try to let Troy maybe get a boot into this one. I don't think so. It'd be over a 60-yard field goal. I don't know if he'll let him do that. He tried it with Dylan one year. Dylan attempted a 60-yarder one year after he hit a 56-yarder at Sumrall 2 years ago.
Yeah, I'm thinking we're going to be in punting formation here. If he punts, he'll have the wind at his back. But if not, could be a fake here because we're into Volunteer territory. So we'll see what happens here. Bobcats in punt formation. It is 4th and 8, however, so Bobcats would have to gain 8 if they did try a fake. But it looks like they're gonna. Oh, it is the fake.
It's a fake. Sigris has it, spinning away from one man. He goes behind another, and the return man will slow him up enough for someone to come behind and make the tackle there. So the 4th down fake there, a little trickeration from Coach Hawkins, moves the chains and puts PCS in the red zone.
Well, Lee Sigrist was the up back on the right side of the center, Stephen Jones, and that is a play where Stephen snaps it but doesn't let the ball go. He holds it at his backside, and Lee actually comes across and takes the ball out of his hands, and just like Stephen, we're a quarterback. So we ran it earlier this year and succeeded, I think, against Prep, and ran it again here, and a huge play for the Bobcats here.
And officials are still talking about something. It's 1st and 10 at the 15-yard line after the Sigris run on the fake punt. Play clock under 10. The officials just now sitting there as a reset of the clock. I was about to wonder if they're going to reset the clock for us. Power formation left with Norton as the tailback. They'll fake it to him. Naked boot for Patterson. Looking. He throws to Jones is behind him, and he can't come back to make the play. Pressuring Patterson that time was Austin Miles.
Yeah, the pressure caused Daniel to hurry his throw, and if he'd had a little more time and could lead Stephen, I believe Stephen would have scored on that one.
He had a lot of green grass in front of him. Told you we'd keep an eye on some scores for you. We've got a score from Jackson Prep at the end of 1 quarter of play. As we'll give you this play from PCS first of all. Go offset eye with Norton and Burks, 2 receivers to the right side. Tight end to the right. They'll toss that way to Norton, trying to get to the edge. Now he cuts back inside the 10, and it'll be dropped there by a host of Volunteers. And that score, Prep leads Park Lane 6-0 after 1 quarter of play in that one. I believe that game is in Macomb.
I believe it is. Come on, Patriots. Do your job this time. Yeah, just a toss sweep to Hunter Norton that time. Ran it towards the strong side, the formation side, and the Volunteers did a good job of getting 2 guys out wide and forcing it back inside, and Hunter made a nice cut. 3rd and 3.
Same formation here. They go tight end left, however. Patterson will fake the give, rolling, throwing in the flats, and it's low, intended for Burks. And it's hard to throw a pass low to Andrew Burks, but that one goes incomplete, and it'll be a 4th down for PCS.
Yeah, this will be interesting to see whether we take the points with the field goal or 4th and 3. We're going to kick the field goal, it looks like.
We'll see Waits come on for only his 4th attempt on the season. 1 for 3 is the senior left footer. He'll place this one down at the 15. It'll be a 25-yard attempt upcoming for Waits.
Bobcats late getting one of the linemen on, but here he comes. He's in place. We still have 10 seconds left on the play clock.
Snap from Jones is high, but Broadhead gets it down. It's high enough, long enough, and true. Troy Waits moves our score 10-0 after that drive after a 4th down conversion from PCS.
Yeah, really what kept the Bobcats out of the end zone that time was good defensive end play by the Volunteers. The left defensive end twice did a good job on the bootleg of getting upfield into Daniel's face and forcing Daniel to pull up rather than continue on outside, and forcing him to throw it a little sooner than he really wanted to. And both the throw to Stephen and to Jonathan were behind them and low. And but it gave Troy a chance to get a good field goal. And hopefully with the wind at his back, we'll give him a chance to kick it in the end zone. So Bobcats up 10-0 with 10:53 to go in the second quarter. And let's hope we don't have a coverage or return this time like we did last time. And here comes Troy, set to kick. Officials have not blown it yet. There's the whistle, and now we're ready. Waits approaching the ball. Kicking team spreads out. And it's going to the end zone. Long way. Actually hit the base of the goalpost in the air. So that was a 75-yard kick by Troy Waits with the wind. Volunteers will take over at their own 20-yard line. This will only be the 3rd play for the Volunteers. No, that's not. Nope, sorry, that's my bad. They ran 2 series earlier. They ran 2 plays and fumbled, and they ran 3 and punted. So 5 plays so far, but the Volunteers are up. They have their own version of the double wing hawk formation here.
Send a man in motion, give us to the fullback. He sheds block defenders and finally thrown down by Addison. The runner is Zach Slaughter, the up back in the full house backfield there.
Yeah, the Volunteers handed it to the fullback, and he just powered through for a nice gain of 5 yards. Cool nights like this, those fingers are a little stiff, and the Bobcats not tackling quite as sure unless they get that face on the football as well and get their body and their hands on them at the same time.
Y'all split a receiver out each side. Wide splits by these linemen. Give to Slaughter again. He's met by Micah Griffin and Robbie Morgan, driven backwards. Gain of about a yard. It'll be a 3rd and, we'll call it 4 for the Vols.
A nice job by the senior tandem of Robbie Morgan and Micah Griffin stepping up and stuffing it for a 1-yard gain. Brings up 3rd and 4.
10 minutes to play in the first half. PCS leading 10-0 after a 25-yard Troy Waits field goal moves him to 50% on the season, 2 out of 4. Of course, one of those was a 57-yard attempt at the end of a half. Motion man, they'll give it to Slaughter again. He's met by the interior line and drop Tyler Henderson and Zach Buffkin there to help bring down the ball carrier.
Yeah, the Bobcats are using a 5-man front. Zach Buffkin, about a 6'3", 280-pound sophomore on the nose, trying to fill up those A-gaps, and it does look like the Volunteers at 4th and 1 are going to punt from deep in their own territory. And this time we've got a return on it. We don't have the punt block set up this time. We've got a return on it and hope to get great field position.
Ball at the 29. And Jonathan Burton will come on to send this one away. Good snap back, and Burton puts a boot into this one. High, spiraling kick. Fair catch called for by Norton. He missed it, but I think he fell back on top of it. Officials taking their time to get in there and sort it out. No signal yet. Starkville comes out with the ball, but they're going to say PCS football. One official pointed PCS, one official pointed Starkville. Now they talk and remember, it goes that way.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Still talking.
Yeah, what may be the confusion here. Now, the Bobcats may still come out on the short end of this, but the whistle blew awfully early. And the whistle actually blew before the Volunteers fell on the ball. So if you go by who had the ball, when the whistle blew, it would still be the Bobcats. But I don't know what's going to happen.
He called fair catch. Ball hit the turf, and Norton landed on top of it, so there should be no fight for the loose ball. If he landed on top and maintained any possession for even a half a second, it was enough to give possession to PCS. But the officials made no effort or no hurried effort to get down there and blow the play off as we're at 8:48 on the clock, still sorting this one out. Not sure the ball boys are even confused. They don't know who to give the football to.
I think both teams may have their offense on the field, however, but they are still talking. No question but that Hunter fumbled the ball. No question but that the Volunteers ended up with the ball. However, I think the big issue here is that the whistle blew while the ball was uncovered. And the play stops right there at that point.
So PCS will retain possession, however controversial it may be. They have the ball at their own 36-yard line, leading 10-0 here with under 9 to play in the first half.
Huge break for the Bobcats there, really.
They go I formation with Norton at tailback. They'll give it to him middle, and we'll hope he holds onto the ball better this time. Short gain on the play. It'll be a gain of 2, 2nd and 8.
Well, that was a beautiful punt by the punter from Starkville into the wind. It was a spiral. It turned over. And usually that ball carries further when it does that. But remember, they're kicking into a very strong wind. So I think that ball actually didn't go as far as Hunter expected it to. And he just didn't get up to it quite as much. So big break for the Bobcats.
I formation, Addison split to the right side. Excuse me, that's Henderson. Turn, they'll give to Young on the end around. Trying to get to the edge. Gets out there, misses one tackle at the sticks, and gets it across the 50 for a first down.
Yeah, the misdirection on the reverse fooled Starkville just long enough for Tyler to get to the corner. They had a couple of guys out there, but they had taken a couple of steps towards the middle of the field, and Tyler was able to get outside of them and down the right side for a first down.
So ball just across the 50-yard line, not quite to the 49 of Starkville. And PCS has it 1st and 10, trying to go in and put this into a 3-score game. They'll go hawk formation. Jones in motion. They'll bring it to Sigris right side. Gets past one defender, sheds another. Still running and spinning his way down inside the 35-yard line. Nice run there from Lee Sigris. Good to have him back.
It is very good to have Lee Sigris back. He runs hard. He's a load back there, but let's don't forget the blocking of those guys up front. Those guys up front are doing a great job opening up some seams for Hunter and for Lee tonight.
Absolutely. It's a good thing. The Hattiesburg American does a good job putting out a local sports publication every week, and I encourage you to pick that up if you get a chance. But 2 different occasions this time, and of all the possible players and teams to put on the front cover, they have featured the PCS offensive line, so good notification from that group. Trouble on the snap, however, we get it to Sigris left side, still trudging his way forward, and he crosses the 30. Like a little exchange trouble from Patterson and center Jace Broom.
Yeah, interestingly, Jason and Daniel have had trouble with their snaps throughout the year. Unfortunately, Matthew Stevens is sick and has not been able to. Matthew Stevens, as you know, is about 6'4", and Jace Broom is about 5'8", 5'9". So Daniel has to squat considerably lower when he takes a snap from Jace.
They go hawk with 2 receivers right. Offset hawk, however. Speed handoff to Jones, trying to get outside. He's got the edge. He's got the first down. He's brought down near the 20. Trying to get a number on that tackle. That was number 11, Austin Miles, on the stop.
Yeah, Stephen did a good job of just keep following his blockers and keeping going outside. A lot of times you have to cut it up on that speed sweep because they'll come up the field and force it in. But Stephen able to follow his blockers and get a first down.
6.5 minutes remaining here in the second quarter. PCS knocking on the door of the red zone, trying to put another score up, leading 10-0 over Starkville. Looking to pass is Patterson. Got a man in the end zone, Addison. Touchdown, PCS. Patterson to Addison for 6.
Nice play. The Bobcats in their running formation of the Hawk, the double wing formation, but Chris Addison out wide at the split end. And after faking the runs, Daniel steps up and floats it out with the wind to Chris Addison, who was running fairly wide open down the field. Nice catch, caught it in stride. Bobcats touchdown. Troy Waits set to kick the extra points out of a Robbie Broadhead hold and a Stephen Jones snap. Good snap, good hold, good kick, and that should make it 17-0. The big play there, the recovery of the fumbled punt by the Bobcats. Bobcats got a huge break on that. They had held the Starkville Volunteers 3 plays and out. A beautiful punt by Starkville's punter into the wind, held the ball up. Hunter Norton calling a fair catch, but the wind catching it and fell a little short of where he was expecting to, and he didn't get his body into it, fell out of his hands. And as the ball was on the ground, the whistle started blowing, and it wasn't until after the whistle had blown that the Volunteers recovered it. So the ball has to be went back to the Bobcats because of an inadvertent whistle, an early whistle in that case. Troy Waits set to kick from the 40 with the wind at his back, a strong wind, strong enough that the ball was blown off the tee. He'll give it one more try, and if it blows off again, somebody will come out and hold that for him. But that's bound to mess up a kicker a little bit because he's not used to having anybody kneel down there yet on the kickoff anyway. Used to it on the extra point, of course.
If nothing else, he got a little warm-up jog in there to get his legs good and loose to send this one in. Last time he hit the base of the goalpost, this one will come down just inside the back edge of the end zone. Another touchback for Troy Waits.
Yeah, that one was just 70 yards that time.
Nah.
Come on, Troy.
It's been a good thing to have and see those kickers in 3 for PCS. I know the first year that I was at PCS and called football games, you had Dylan Dearman out there, tremendous, also left-footed kicker, and now Troy Waits comes up, and they've had him for a year or two now, and it's been really, really nice to have him and Dylan handling those special team duties.
Well, it's a benefit for the football team when a school has a good soccer program too. Dylan and Troy both standouts on Bobcat soccer teams, and that's a real benefit to a football team.
They'll fake the read, throw it across the middle, got a wide open tight end. Incomplete, just led him a little bit too far. Had Joel Ray streaking down the seam wide open, and PCS dodges a bullet there.
Well-designed play by the Volunteers. They faked the dive, came down like they were going to run the option. The outside linebacker, Stephen Jones, came up, and the other safety, Chris Addison, has to roll over and cover that, and was a little late getting over there. The guy was wide open. Chris would have tackled him, but overthrown, fortunately.
No deep safety for PCS. They go left side this time. This is to give to the fullback, and making the tackle on the play is Micah Griffin. A run there by Slaughter, who's done most of the carrying for Starkville so far. Gain of about 4 on the play, just shy of the 25. Will be 3rd and 6 for the Vols.
Well, as you watch the Volunteer offense, their formations really are a throwing formation. But in this case, they end up running the ball most of the time out of their throwing formation, and really would have had a big play there if they'd been able to hit that previous one.
Well, speaking of throwing formations, they go 5 wide with the Wildcat Runnels. He sends a man in motion, and he'll fake the speed give, keep it coming near side, gets the edge, being chased by Griffin. He's into the open field across the 50 before Chris Addison catches up to him. Big play there by Colby Runnels.
Yeah, that was just a quarterback keep on the option, and the Volunteers did a good job of blocking. Bobcats sucked in on the dive. They did a great job of selling the dive fake, and whoever was supposed to have the quarterback on the option didn't get it done.
So that'll put Starkville into PCS territory for, I believe, the first time tonight with the ball at the 44-yard line. They go back to that Wildcat formation for Runnels. Motion man, they'll go same side. They'll give the speed motion this time. Give is to That's Grant Wolf, another freshman. And just as he was about to get to the edge, you see Griffin and Addison there to combine on the stop. Gain of 1 on the play.
Yeah, the Volunteers really did a good job of blocking that time. The wide receiver had the cornerback blocked. The outside linebacker was blocked by the inside receiver. What they couldn't count for was the speed of Micah Griffin, the 4.6 speed of Micah Griffin from middle linebacker who raced out. And as that motion man turned up the field, Micah was there to knock him down.
Reynolds will be in the shotgun again here. We saw Oak Forest try to run some speed edge stuff last weekend. PCS was able to halt it. And here's the same play they got the big gainer on. This time Dakota Harvey strings it out. And you see the speed of Reynolds is one of very few people to outrun Dakota Harvey to the edge. He gets a gain across the 40 to about the 39-yard line.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a tough play for a linebacker. Bobcats are running 3 linebackers. Micah in the middle, and Dakota on 1 outside linebacker, and you know what, they're running 2. Dakota's playing inside, so he has to kind of respect that dive and then try to get out on the quarterback keep, and that's a tough deal. The defensive end really has to help with that as well, and he's either getting sucked in or blocked 1.
Looks like PCS is running with 3 down defensive linemen, and the defensive ends are up and outside the tackles with the linebackers. A little while. They go back to the full house. Reynolds keeps it on the pitch, though, gives it to, let's see if we get a number here. That is Hunter Peoples around the right side, and he will not have enough to move the chains. It'll be 4th and 5. Gain of about a yard or so as we're ticking down to about 4 minutes to play in the first half, and I would expect to see Starkville try to get this conversion here.
Yeah, nice play that time by combination outside linebacker, free safety Stephen Jones. Fought his way through a block by a wide receiver and really made that tackle with a minimum of gain.
They go back to the spread Wildcat.
Going forward on 4th and 6.
Motion man, Cole Reynolds fakes it. He's got the seam. He's got a man down there. He makes the catch inside the 10. Pass to Austin Miles, and that fake run and step back throw has been there twice. This time it's complete. Starkville is in business inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, the Bobcats are really selling out to the run. And sometimes when you sell out to the run like that, well-designed fake run, pass play can pop open. Our safety's got to do a little bit better job of getting over, rotating over.
You go back to the full house. Give to the fullback Slaughter. He's pulling defenders, trying to get to the end zone. I don't think he got there, but he's inside the 5 to about the 2-yard line. And we've got 13-0 Prep over Park Lane, and MRA is leading JA 10-7 in the second quarter. Interesting developments there in Jackson.
Yeah, those games have huge playoff implications, so we need to keep up with those scores.
Clock running under 3 to play in the second quarter. Starkville with their best drive of the night, and they're on the doorstep trying to get on the board here. Broken play there, and Reynolds is able to go over right side and almost get into the end zone. Micah Griffin, however, that was Dakota Harvey slinging him down backwards, as well as Chris Addison on the stop to keep him short of the goal line. It'll be 3rd and goal from inside the 1.
Yeah, the quarterback opened to the right, expecting to fake a dive there, but the fullback went to behind him to the left. So, yeah, that was a little bit of a break for the Bobcats, but he still almost fell into the end zone. Boy, the tip of the ball is almost at that white stripe.
I would expect to see the ball in Slaughter's hands here. He's been successful at that fullback run. It's a quarterback keeper for Reynolds, and he'll be into the end zone. Touchdown, Starkville.
Yeah, a huge play there, that pass play a few minutes ago that went for about 50 yards down inside the 10. Well-designed play by the Volunteers of faking the dive, faking the option, and the quarterback dropping back and hitting that receiver going down the field. But the Volunteers closing the gap here, 17-6 with 2 minutes to go. Set for the extra point. Snap is good. Hold, kick, all good. So 17-7. PCS over the Volunteers with 2 minutes left to go in the first half. This is a point in a ball game that Coach Hawkins will not give in. He will try to move that ball down the field as quickly as he can, try to get one more score before half. We will see how that goes. Now, the Volunteers will have to be kicking into this strong wind, so our deep backs don't need to be quite as deep as they were. The initial kickoff of the game was with the wind and went right to the goal line for a touchback. This time, the deep guys who appear to be Tyler Young and Stephen Jones need to be up a little bit because that ball is not going to go as far as it did initially. Both of them going back deep, though. They need to be moving up a little bit. Starkville may not even kick it deep. I don't know. They may kick a squib so that we don't get a chance to run it back, and the wind doesn't have quite the opportunity to kill it as it does if he gets it up in the air.
Well, we've got a different kicker on to kick this one. I don't see a 71 on my roster here.
Yeah, this is either an onside or some sort of squib kick.
High arching kick will be brought in by Starkville just across the 50. On the catch there was Joel Ray going up to bring it down, and PCS didn't even send anybody up to go make a play on the ball. So Starkville successful on the onside kick attempt with 2 minutes to play in the second quarter.
Well, Will Parrish was coming up to the ball, and he did stick his hand up barely to signal a fair catch. If he had been a little more evident with that, then he would have had to been given the opportunity. And the officials talking, they still may call it yet because Will did get his hand up as if to call a fair catch. But the Volunteers did not give him the opportunity to make that catch. And they are going to call a penalty. They are going to call not giving him the opportunity to make a fair catch.
Wow, so, very, very smart play there from Parrish.
Wish Will had been a little more obvious with that fair catch signal, but I saw it from up here. And fortunately, one of the officials saw it down there.
Kick-catch interference is the indication. That gives PCS the ball back. So two really, really important calls have both gone the way of the Bobcats here in the special teams game in this first half. And so they're talking to PCS, seeing what they want to do, re-kick it or mark the penalty off.
They need to take the ball right where it is.
Absolutely. That was a very well executed. I wish I knew the name of the young man to give credit to on that onside kick. I've never seen you've seen a pooch kick. I've never seen one that's that high. Stephen Robertson, just been given the name here. Very excellent kick there. Yeah. Great execution.
Yeah, did an excellent job. And unfortunately, Will got a hand up just in time to make a fair catch there. Otherwise, the Volunteers would have been in business at the Bobcat 46-yard line. But
officials still talking this over. They've brought Coach Hawkins out to discuss the situation with him.
Well, I think the issue is do you re-kick, do you get the ball where it is, or do we get 10 more yards down the field? Because of the penalty. So, and I think that's what the options are, and we're trying to make sure we do not want to re-kick that.
If I'm correct, I think that is an additional 10 yards from the spot, and the receiving team will retain possession. So PCS should keep the ball plus 10 yards. But I've never seen a play quite like that.
Well, I would take it. I would just keep it. I would settle for just keeping it right where it is. But we'll take the 10 yards if they want to give it to us. They look like they're going to because Coach Terrell is not happy. The officials are discussing it with him. And the Starkville fans are not happy tonight because of those two calls that have gone the Bobcats' way.
It looks like we're going to have the special teams back. So it looks like if PCS decline the penalty, Starkville would keep the ball and march it backwards on their start, or they can re-kick it. So PCS will elect to have Starkville back up 10 yards and re-kick. Into the wind, reminding you.
Well, that may be the case. I believe I would have taken it. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. They're going to move it back 10 yards, make them re-kick. Or maybe it's 15. Looks like it's going to be 15 yards back. And the Bobcats have brought a couple of more hands people in. Lee Sigrist up here now in the place of linebacker Will Parrish, who ended up doing a great job there. But they're going to try to make sure we get it. The Starkville fans, again, not happy. They're actually getting a little bit of a break, it seems to me, by getting a chance to re-kick. Different kicker in this time. Maybe they're going to put it down deep. They don't want to give the Bobcats the ball on the 40-yard line. This
is the more traditional kicker, Burton, on, and he'll send this one deep. It'll come down to Jones at the 28-yard line. He goes middle, trying to find his way. He's up near midfield, still trying to find his way forward. He'll be brought down at the 47-yard line, right about the spot where the ball was caught the last time.
Yeah, we just lost about 8 seconds on it by having a re-kick, but we ended up with the ball right about the same place as we would have otherwise.
He had to dig deep into the rule book to figure out how to sort that one out.
Yeah. Good thing we're not in Hattiesburg. The Starkville fans really would have thought they were being robbed. They think they're being robbed anyway, much less if it had been in Hattiesburg.
The two close and controversial calls have gone against the Volunteers. So
exactly.
So with 1:52 left in the first half, we'll see an I formation with a tight end in Tyler Young to the left side. They'll turn and give it to him on the end around, trying to get to the edge. He's there trying to now cut back. He's got the first down, I believe. I think he got just enough for the first down before being knocked out of bounds.
Looks like where he's spotting it, Nathan, is just inside the down marker. I don't know. We'll see where the spot was, but it looks like it's just inside the first down marker. But
well, I've got an excellent viewpoint here. I think he's just shy. I think very good observation there. I think he'll be short by about 6 inches.
Yeah, it was hard to tell. We're on the press box, and he ran to the visitor side, and it was hard for us to tell where he went out of bounds. But
they're going to bring chains in and check it. That's going to give me an opportunity, with this being the last ball game of the year. I definitely want to make sure that we get a couple of thank yous out there to a couple of very, very supportive people in the PCS family, the Booster Club. The PCS Booster Club has done tremendous amounts for these athletes that you've been able to see, and for all the things that you do. They're seen or unseen, heard or unheard, known or unknown. We want to say thank you from all of us that have anything to do with the athletic program.
Yeah, the co-presidents this year are Miss Amy Edwards and Dr. Debbie Azar, and they're doing a great job, and a host of other ladies helping in the paw print and the concession stand all over the place.
Well, you saw the paw print graphic there. I want to thank them. They do a great job as Patterson flings this one out of the backfield of Norton. Struggles to make the catch and then find his footing, and he'll be dropped for a loss of 3 on the play. Yeah, the paw print does a great job. If you ever come out to a football game or a basketball game as basketball season's getting ready to gear up, and you see someone wearing some nice PCS gear, chances are they got that at the paw print. And you can stop by and see the nice folks there. They now accept credit cards for your convenience. You can go by. It's out by the football field. They'll be relocating into the gym for basketball season. Jones on the speed sweep. He's cutting back. He's got a lane in front. 2 men in front of him. He's spinning and knocked down inside the 20-yard line. Stephen Jones, big gainer.
Yeah, nice play. Stephen in motion from the Hawk formation. Speed sweep. He was the motion man across, and they handed it to him. Nice blocking in there. The defense had left a hole right out there, right outside that left defensive end, and Stephen cut it up and ended up bursting up through there and getting us some good yardage and down inside the 20.
Under a minute, exactly 54 seconds remaining. They'll wind the clock on the snap. PCS with 2 timeouts remaining. It'll be 1st and 10 inside about the 17-yard line. Shotgun, and we'll have a timeout called by Starkville, their last of the first half.
Well, this is one of those patented Coach Hawkins drives right before halftime, Nathan. He loves to get the ball back with 2 to 3 minutes. And try to get it down the field and get some points on the board, get the momentum right before halftime. Starkville calling their last time out to try to get their alignment the way they want it. We are in great position to get some points here. We have 2 timeouts left, it appears. Definitely within Troy Waits' field goal range, but Coach Hawkins much rather get 7 than just the 3.
Magnolia Heights and Washington have gone to the half with Magnolia Heights leading 7-6. And again, if they win that ball game, they will face this same Starkville Volunteer squad next week in the first round playoff matchup.
And you said Starkville is the 2 seed, Nathan?
Starkville is the 2 seed from the south.
Yep.
East Rankin secured the 1 seed with a 34-29 win last week in Pelahatchie. Patterson rolls right, and he'll look. He throws to Addison at the marker, and we'll see. I think he got stopped inbounds. It'll stop the clock at least momentarily with 38 seconds to play.
Yeah, I think it's going to keep the clock stopped because not only did he get the first down, but he fell out of bounds on the tackle. So the clock should not start on the when it's set for play, but we'll see.
They're at the half in Jackson at the Brickyard. MRA leads 13-7 over the 3-time defending state champion Raiders of Jackson Academy. They go back to the shotgun here inside the 10-yard line. Patterson rolling right again, throws in the flats to Jones. He's hit at the 3 and driven out of bounds by Austin Miles.
Yeah, the Volunteers gave him about 5 yards. Stephen just running a quick out and was able to get a handful of yards, but Starkville had 2 guys there and ran him out of bounds. Stopped the clock, though.
And a big game back home around the Hattiesburg area. Hattiesburg High School leading Oak Grove 7-0 in the second quarter of that one. They go power I formation, all power to the left with Sygris back behind everyone. They give it to him left, trying to find his way to the end zone. He'll spin in to pay dirt for 6 more points, Lee Sygris.
That's going to be real huge for the Bobcats to have answered back here with 29 seconds left to go after the Volunteers drove and scored their touchdown. If we'd gone into halftime at that point, the Volunteers definitely would have had the momentum, and the Bobcats may have been reeling. But the Bobcats answer back, and here's Troy for the extra point. Good snap, good hold, good kick. And Bobcats will have to kick off, but looks like hopefully we'll go to halftime up 24-7. But Bobcats are recipients of a couple of huge breaks in the first half as far as calls by the officials. And so that's enabled the Bobcats to hold this lead at half, coming up on halftime, 24-7. We'll see if the Bobcats, I'm sure, will kick it deep because Troy, with the wind at his back, will probably kick it into the end zone. At this point, with most kickers in normal wind, you might want to kick a squibber just so that nobody back deep gets a chance to get a running start at a 100-yard return. But with Troy's leg and with the wind at his back, I'm sure we will just try to drill it and get it out the back of the end zone and give the Volunteers the ball on their own 20. And with 29 seconds to go, my guess is they would run the clock out at this point. We will see what the Bobcats do.
Waits tees it up, and Hill looks to send this one deep. Back deep Runnels as well as Hunter Bolin, the speedster. He sends it deep, and we'll see if it'll be into the end zone. It will for another touchback.
Well, getting shorter every time, just 65 yards that time.
Touchback. Volunteer ball, first and 10 from their own 20.
3 of his 4 kickoffs tonight have gone into, well, let's see, yeah, that would be his 4th, have gone into the end zone, which is probably about Troy's average on the year. So my guess is the Volunteers will knee it, let the clock run out. But they may want to try one play where they.
Tell you what, that little tight end seam pass was wide open last time. We'll see if they run it here. They'll just give it up the middle to Slaughter, and he'll spin his way across the 20 for about a yard gain. And they've got no timeouts, so he can't stop the clock. We're under 20 seconds. We'll see if they'll line up.
They're going to take this into halftime, I believe. Bobcats had their 2 safeties playing deep this time. They weren't going to give up that big play if the Volunteers had tried to go for it.
And they will go to the half. At halftime, your score, 24-7. PCS leads. We'll take a quick break and be right back to bring you a little halftime facts and figures and some stats. And the second half of action here from Starkville Academy. You're watching PCS football on the Bobcat Sports Network. We welcome you back here to the campus of Starkville Academy, where your Bobcats have staked out to a 24-7 halftime lead over the Volunteers in the season finale, or the regular season finale, I should say, as PCS is on their way to securing a playoff berth and moving forward. Now, we have to pay close attention to scores from down in the Macomb region, obviously, as Jackson Prep has traveled down to play the Park Lane Pioneers. And to this point, Jackson Prep is handling their business and leads at the half. I believe the last score I saw was 12-0 at the half, 12 or 13-0.
Yeah, I believe, and they just scored that right before halftime, from what I understand. We need the Patriots to turn it on and build that lead up.
So very nip and tuck there, and an interesting score. It has no bearing on playoff scenarios or anything like that, but it's worthy of note. Germantown High School leads Richland 45-0 at halftime. Now, Germantown, we played, and it was the very high-scoring and wild affair, 66-48. Your Bobcats were victorious in that game. That, way back in the beginning of, or the end of September, I should say, was the last time the Mavericks lost a football game. And they are cruising into winning that 4A district and moving into the playoffs, an undefeated division record. So, very interesting to see your PCS Bobcats were the last ones to hand the Mavericks a defeat.
Well, the interesting thing about Germantown is, of course, they're a new school, second year of existence. Gorgeous facility up in Gluckstadt. A lot of good players that siphoned off from Madison Central. And they have a lot of talent. The fullback for that team is the younger brother of Nicholas Brazel, who played at Madison Central and then played at Ole Miss and now is at Scuba. And coming back to Ole Miss, I believe I saw that commitment.
Committed to go back to Ole Miss.
So they've got some real talent at running back. But then against us, they discovered their passing game. The quarterback, Shell, is the son of Tony Shell, who was a star baseball and football player for Jackson Academy back in the 80s and later was the quarterback for Mississippi State. So the Germantown Mavericks, very talented on the running game as well as the throwing game, and boy, those receivers can fly.
Absolutely. We're about 3 minutes away from the second half kick. Your Bobcats are making their way back onto the field to get loose and get warmed up, and we're going to have the second half coming on in just a moment. We'll keep a track, as we said, on some of those scores that pertain particularly to your Bobcats, that Jackson Prep score most importantly. And Magnolia Heights leading 7-6, halftime over Washington. That has more to do with Starkville. As they're in a similar situation as we talked about as PCS, just waiting to see who wins that game to see where they will travel, as the Volunteers have secured the number 2 seed in Division II, AAA South.
Yeah, the East Rankin Patriots finishing 1 in the AAA Division II South, led by their all-everything quarterback athlete, Jacob Weldon. And so East Rankin set poised to make some noise this year in the AAA Division II playoffs.
Absolutely. We saw that team earlier this year, and we a little outrageous to compare him to him, but as far as on the MAIS level, he is the closest thing you'll see to a Cam Newton, Robert Griffin III type. I mean, he can kill you with his legs. I mean, the state record holder in the 200-meter dash and lethal on the basketball court. I know firsthand. He had very good games. I think it was Jackson Prep last year that Jackson Prep contained everyone else, and Jacob Weldon scored, I believe, 37 points in a contest up there. So very, very talented athlete, does some phenomenal things on the football field as well.
Well, maybe letting the cat out of the bag here a little bit, but Coach Hawkins went to a meeting this week of all-district selections and to select the all-district South team, and Jacob Weldon selected the offensive MVP for the South AAA.
Well, I can believe that. I mean, he just is such a talented player and does it all. I mean, he's a punter and a heck of a punter at that. I believe he had a 65-yard plus punt against PCS in back-to-back seasons. I know he went up there last year and he let loose a bomb of about 80 yards. Thought we had him pinned deep, and then he ends up pinning the Bobcats deep inside their own 15-yard line. Really flipped the field in that game at a critical point. PCS able to come out victorious in that contest. And then again this year, beating East Rankin in a really tight contest this season.
Well, Jacob, a really fine young man, real quiet, but I'm going to tell you, he's a great athlete. He, when he gets through with football, he will go straight to basketball. When he gets through with basketball, he will go straight to baseball and track. So, we face Jacob all the time and everything, and he is a gifted athlete and one that you definitely have to stop if you have a chance to beat the East Rankin Patriots.
Well, if PCS wants to be successful and victorious here in the final 24 minutes, they'll have to deal with another bunch of fine athletes. That's the Starkville Academy Volunteers. They bested them in the first half with a 24-7 lead. But as you know, there was two very, very controversial calls that went the way of the Bobcats. And we'll see if PCS can maintain the advantage they have here. We've seen in recent weeks that second half letdown there in the beginning of the third quarter and going back to the Park Lane game of the fumbling woes in the fourth quarter. So we'll see if PCS can end the regular season on a good note and build some momentum as they look to head to the metro area again next week for the playoffs.
Nathan, during the halftime, I heard another factor of that kickoff is that by rule, on a kickoff like that, the ball has to touch the ground before the kicking team can recover it.
Interesting.
So that was another aspect of that I found out during halftime. So
Troy Waite's second half kickoff hits the ground way back deep in the end zone for another touchback as he has the wind that is back here for the third quarter. Starkville with the option to receive, or they deferred the choice and they chose this side of the field.
Yeah, it looks like the Bobcats are coming out with their five-man front, two inside linebackers, and their safeties playing back a little bit this time, not quite as deep as they have been, so maybe trying to make sure that
ball's on the ground. They gave it to the fullback Slaughter. Ball came out. We'll see who recovered it. PCS is jumping for joy, and coming out of there with the ball, Tyler Henderson. Big turnover, one play, one turnover for Starkville, and PCS has the ball just outside the 20-yard line.
Yeah, that ball just, we had stood him up. There wasn't going to be much gain anyway, only about a 1-yard gain. And before that whistle blew and before he went down, the ball just fell straight down. And Tyler Henderson alertly jumped on it.
And we'll see Robbie Broadhead flanked out in the slot to the right with Rand Henderson. Tight flankers, Jones and Norton in that familiar Hawk formation. Norton will go speed motion. They give end around to Jones. He's got a seam. He's across the 10, being driven backwards toward the sideline now, and finally upended at about the 10-yard line. And Jones is almost like he's got a little bit of a cramp there. He was driven back. He went down and laid back on that leg, and he's slow getting up gingerly on that right ankle. We'll keep an eye on that as head trainer Rusty Hines will inspect the injured Bobcat.
Yeah, I thought for a minute maybe it was just got the wind knocked out of him because it looked like he landed on the defender, actually, on the sideline.
So we'll see. Addison will split wide to the left of the formation this time. Young will go in motion. They give to Sigris up the middle. Gets past the first defender, but he's tripped up at the 5-yard line. And he'll be down right there. It'll be a second and about 4. PCS can gain a first down inside the 1-yard line, so not a goal-to-go situation. Just about 1 minute gone by here in the third quarter.
Well, it's nice to have that Lee Sigris power up the middle again tonight.
And he'll be behind Patterson on this play. They'll send Jones in motion. He's back in the ball game. Good to see as Sigris delayed for a moment, but waits it out and gets into the end zone for another Bobcat touchdown. Sigris' second score of the night.
Yeah, nice run by Lee. Nice blocking by the big guys up front. Tanner McGowan, the Hudson brothers, Jace Broom, and I don't know whether it was Logan McBride or Michael Cooper on the left tackle, but those guys just powering off the line and giving Lee some lanes to run through.
Michael Cooper found out this week he's got a strained ligament in his right foot, and we were wondering if he was going to dress out and play.
Well, he had a boot on at school today, so I thought maybe he wasn't going to. But he's got his ankle heavily taped tonight, and he's out there and giving it his best. And so we're glad to have Michael and doing a good job tonight. Great job, offensive line. Is that Lee's second or third touchdown?
That's Lee's second touchdown of the night. We had the touchdown pass to Addison, and I believe we had the I'm trying to think the other score here. I have to go back and check my stats here in a minute.
Well, Troy waits, teeing it up, kicking into the wind again. We'll see if he can get a fifth kickoff touchback with the wind before we have to go into the wind fourth quarter. Score 31-7. And that's a little bit of an odd number. Did we miss an extra point on?
Oh, we had the field goal from Waits.
Yeah.
He had the 25-yard field goal.
That's right. It would have been 28 for 4 touchdowns, and he had 3 to that. So, yep, there we go. No, I'm a history major, not a math guy, so here we go.
You almost need a math major to figure out some of these playoff scenarios and point spreads.
Yep. And Coach Hawkins' offense puts up enough points where sometimes you have to.
We definitely need it against Germantown. Waite sends this one through the back of the end zone as they're under 10.5 minutes, and for some reason the clock is running after the touchback.
That's all right. We'll take it. Wind this thing off.
1st and 10 at the 20-yard line.
Giroux, Winford, Buffkin, Henderson, and Robbie Morgan in the front. Bobcats see something. They shift to a 4-man front.
They go Wildcat with Runnels, and he goes over left side, and Henderson will hit him and drive him backward. Buffkin also there, as well as Robbie Morgan. You named off those defensive linemen. You can't overstate how good of a job they have done tonight. That option is tough on linebackers, but it's even tougher on defensive linemen. And why is that, Chip?
Well, it's really tough on the ends. The defensive line guys just have to really stop the dive in the tackle, and then the linebackers and the ends have to stop the quarterback and the pitch man. But doing a good job on the dive tonight, but it's that quarterback and the pass out of there that is really giving us a hard time.
Runnels will be corralled behind the 20. It'll be a loss of 3 on the play. Tried to pick his way through and find gaps, but there was nothing much doing there. And a host of Bobcats brings him down for a loss on the play.
Well, interesting, the Bobcats have been running a 5-man front all night, but apparently in some formations they want to run just a 4-man front and give themselves an extra linebacker. I think when the Volunteers go into their option formation, they are dropping Tyler Henderson back at middle linebacker, moving moving Parrish and Broadhead out to outside linebackers to help with that option, to help with that quarterback, to help with the pass, and the safeties are staying back. And actually, the Bobcats are starting to sub some guys in.
I was just about to say, we see some fresh white jerseys. Michael Patterson, Robert Upton, Lee Smith, Chris Hare in the defensive secondary, and Robbie Morgan and Will Parrish getting exclusive tours at linebacker right now. And Starkville has just called a timeout with 8:36 remaining in the third quarter. And of interesting development here, we talked about how this game last year, both teams had secured playoff positioning. Just trying to finish the season out, Starkville had 10 wins. Was really just hoping to stay healthy and get to the playoffs and in the Division II ranks. And PCS, the same situation in Division I ranks as they had Jackson Academy waiting. And in that game, quarterback Drew Pullum was injured. Pelham. Let me break the name right. This is Runnels rolling left and throwing incomplete, intended on the play for Hunter Peoples in the flat. But Pelham has yet to take a snap in this ball game at quarterback. They don't want a repeat of last year's game.
Yeah, really, when we mentioned earlier that the Starkville formations really are more of a passing formation. However, they are more of a run-oriented team. And when you get them 3rd and 9 and force them into a passing formation, generally you're doing doing yourself a favor by forcing them into something they don't normally do.
Jones fields the fair catch on the punt from Burton inside Bobcat territory, and they will start their second possession from the 42-yard line.
We'll see if the Bobcats go with some whiter jerseys on offense.
Well, I'm seeing Logan McBride, Zach Buffkin in.
Yeah, Michael George I see coming in.
Austin Thornton, his whole second line there, Preston Austin as well. And you mentioned Michael George at tight end, and at quarterback is Robbie Broadhead. And we'll see Cody Rosser also wins the split in with Jonathan Burks. And Hunter Norton, however, will stay in at tailback, as he is the normal second-team tailback, but with Fate Island still nursing a knee injury, he has gotten exclusive play at tailback. So Broadhead to be under center, under 7 to play. They'll give to Burks, fullback run. He gets off the first defender and to the 45-yard line.
Yeah, I think the Bobcats are just going to keep it on the ground, probably try to run some yardage, run some clock, and just see if we can get this ball game on towards the conclusion without getting anybody hurt and with giving some guys some experience going into the playoffs.
I'm interested to see if both coaches have consented to a running clock here in the second half, as both teams are getting set for playoffs, want that rest, and want to really get out of this one with no harm done and move on to the next one. Toss right, this is Jones. He'll fumble the snap and go down, and I think Starkville recovered it. Toss was low, but Jones is able to fall back on it. It'll be a loss of 4 on the play. It'll bring up 3rd and 13 for the Bobcats.
Ooh, that was fortunate. Stephen usually has good hands, but occasionally he has his daddy's hands. And so,
well, the toss was low, and Jones looked like he was trying to get his head up to see if he was getting pressured off that edge. And when he did, the ball just kind of the rain is starting to fall again, so that may have played a factor into it. Yeah,
that was it.
We'll blame it on the rain.
Blame it on the rain. There we go.
Norton back in at tailback now on 3rd and 13. Draw play to Norton. Left side, he goes middle, and he loses the football, and I know Starkville came on this one.
Yeah, Starkville doing a good job of trying to strip the ball there. As they're coming in to make tackle, they do that NFL college football strip action. And,
I felt certain that number 61, if I can get a number 61, Cole Phelps, the ball went right into his chest, but I guess he was unable to hang on to it, and PCS falls on it to retain possession after about an 8-yard gain by Norton, but it's short of a first down, and Waits will come in for his first punt of the night.
We did line up in a punt, but of course it was a fake, and nice punt by Troy.
Fielded inside the 20, and on the special teams tackle there, Stephen Jones. He's all over the field.
Well, Stephen is the long snapper, and by rule you can't hit the long snapper until he's probably 10 yards down the field. Well, Stephen's got pretty good speed, and you give him a 10-yard head start, and he's going to be able to avoid most blockers.
Interesting to see who PCS will place at deep snapper the next coming years, as Stephen, as a senior, done a phenomenal job for 3 years. And we're going to see some freshmen into the ball game. I see Brennan Desper and Trenton Yawn, some of the freshmen that have moved up after the junior high season's over with on the left side of the defensive line. Also coming in, trying to get a number there.
Who's number 10 at safety there?
That's Robert Upton. This is the option keeper right side for Runnels. He's running through Bobcat defenders into the secondary, and a first down up near the 30-yard line. As we had, I believe it was Zach Buffkin coming in late. No, excuse me, that was 54 Reed Hudson.
Yeah, it looks like we're keeping a few of our mainstays in there. Micah's in there, one of the Hudson brothers in there, Buffkin's still in there, so we're keeping a few mainstays in there. Hayden Boutwell checking into the ball game now. So getting a lot of guys into the ball game with a chance to play some.
Under 3.5 to play in this third quarter. They'll go tight receivers out of that full house backfield. Send a man in motion left. Runnels will keep it, making the tackle. Nice play there. Dylan Edwards coming up from his defensive end position.
Yeah, Dylan just a sophomore, but actually has been playing with the first unit some at defensive end, getting some good game experience coming along. Dylan actually played quarterback in junior high last year and has worked his way into some playing time with with the defensive unit this year.
Preston Austin will come in on the defensive side this time, and it'll be interesting to see Dylan make his contributions in the next coming years.
Going to have a quarterback next year, aren't we?
That's for sure, as you've got both quarterbacks are seniors. They'll go Wildcat here. They'll fake the give. Runnels right side. He gets past one defender, gets past the second defender in the secondary, and Griffin and the younger Patterson, Michael, will combine on the stop. Ball up near the 45. It moves the chains again. And the clock is not stopping to reset the chains. And I've got to believe, I haven't heard it officially, but I got to believe these coaches have consented to a running clock here in the second half, with PCS leading 31-7, so that these two can get out of here and no harm, no foul, move on to the playoffs.
Well, it's not automatic until there's a 35-point lead, and we're certainly not at that, but that certainly may have been Coach Terrell not wanting to repeat the injury that happened last year and getting his guys some experience. Just got a text, prep up 19-0 over Park Lane at this point.
And that bodes well for your Bobcats. Runnels takes a snap. He'll keep left side, trying to get to the edge and forcing him back inside is Lee Smith, where Micah Griffin will grab a jersey and hang on for dear life. Finishing off the play there, I believe that was Brennan Desper all the way across field from his left defensive end position to make the tackle, along with, I believe, Hayden Boutwell there as well.
Yeah, Lee did a good job of disrupting the play on the line of scrimmage, and Micah came up and thought he had him stopped, but he popped loose and gained a couple more yards after that.
Tyler Henderson in, as well as Austin Thornton now getting some run at defensive end. Up the middle, this is Slaughter, and he'll be stacked up for a short gain on second down. Under a minute to play here, third quarter. This second half is moving rapidly by. Tyler Henderson in on that stop.
Yeah, younger Bobcats getting some good experience here. Tyler able to play strong, able to play defensive line, quick, able to play linebacker. So that combination gives you some real good flexibility on a defensive front.
MRA still leading Jackson Academy 13-7. That game into the third quarter now. Runnels will go right after the fake give, and Desper and Parrish will drop him for a loss.
Nice job, guys. Nice job. Brings up 4th and a couple.
And that'll most likely be the last play of the third quarter. We'll take a break. We'll need to catch our breath and prepare for the fourth quarter. If it's anything like the third, it'll go fast. It'll go quick. We'll take a break here. You're watching PCS football on the Bobcat Sports Network. We're back here as the fourth quarter is set to begin. Your Bobcats have a 31-7 lead here in the final quarter in the final regular season game. Starkville will be a 4th and 3. They'll line up in their Wildcat formation with Runnels taking the snap. He'll go right on the keeper, trying to get to the edge. He outruns Parrish to the edge. He may outrun everyone to the end zone. The left got away with a hold there, and Runnels will go 47 yards for a touchdown, Volunteers. Like Michael Patterson had a little bit of jersey tug there, but no harm, no foul. 31-13, our score now.
Yeah, you could tell by the formation that was probably what was going to happen there. There was no option possibility, and when that's happened tonight, the Volunteers have pretty much just run a sweep, and that's what they did, and he got to the corner. Some of our young guys, not quite as quick, of course, as more experienced guys. Took a couple of bad angles there that I saw, and a couple of good blocks by the Volunteers, and he raced almost 50 yards to the end zone. A kick up and looks good from here, and it's 31-14. We'll see what the Volunteers will do on the kickoff, whether they'll kick it short, kick it deep, and we'll see if Coach Hawkins will come back with this starting offense. My guess is they probably better.
One more score, this thing is getting tight.
Yeah, it is, but you notice the clock is still running, so the coaches must have agreed to run it. So this thing is going to go quickly, but you hate to, but I do believe if I was Coach Hawkins, I believe I'd come back with my first unit at this point and run some time off. The Bobcats looks to have their hands team in on the kickoff. And they're short several players on that kickoff team. Right now, they're calling the sidelines, combing the sidelines for them. Here comes a couple more.
And there's 11 as we see Dustin Webster come in late.
Yeah, I believe they'll kick it deep, but
well, they've got the deep kicker in, Burton, but that, is not a complete indicator. He'll have the wind at his back, and he's got a pretty strong leg. He'll send it high and deep, and it'll come down right at the goal line and roll into the end zone for a touchback.
Yeah, Tyler and Hunter were hoping that one was going to roll because they were going to let it land right at the 1 yard line. And if it had kicked back, they were in position to grab it and run, but would not have been very good field position. Yeah, it looks like the first group's coming back in.
Well, I see Michael George in there at tight end and Norton.
Oh, well, yeah.
Reserve lineman.
Yeah, still keeping some of the second group in there. Maybe Coach is just going to use first group on defense or just hoping this clock runs fast.
Well, you probably move this ball into Starkville territory, and that clock will most likely run out. If you can get the ball inside about the 35-yard line, that might just go ahead and kill this thing. Give on the speed sweep to Norton, left side, cutting back. He's near the first down marker, and the ball came out. Starkville falls on it. We'll see if they mark him down or no indication at this point. They've got the ball spotted. They say Norton was down, and he'll retain possession. Whew.
Another break there. I don't hear the Starkville fans yelling this time, though. Not too much, anyway.
There are a few dissenters in the crowd there.
Yep. It was on the other side of the field. We really couldn't tell because there was a lot of traffic between here and there.
It's enough for a first down, and it'll move the chains in PCS with 8 minutes remaining in the game. Up to the 30-yard line now. Back to the Hawk. They'll send Young in motion and give middle. I'm trying to figure. I didn't see a number.
I believe that's Burks.
That should be Andrew Burks, the reserve fullback. And it will be. Burks back after a knee injury as well. He suffered a similar injury as Micah Griffin with an MCL strain. It's good to see him back. And for the most part, you have Matthew Stevens with the illness and Fate Island probably out for getting his last week of rest. And Stevens is set to check in with a doctor. And as Tyler Young gets his handoff, trying to cut back and get across the 40, he does, and down up at the 44-yard line. But Matthew Stevens, the starting center, has been out the last 3 ball games with an illness, and he checked in. I suppose we'll check in with his doctor this week and get a last word as to whether he can play next week or not. Not expecting him back, but you never know when good news may come.
Well, I believe his sickness is mono, and that thing can really zap you and can last for a while, so got to be careful with it.
1st and 10. PCS.
First down gives the Bobcats a fresh set of downs to try to run some more clock off.
They give speed motion to Norton, left side, trying to find his way. He'll stop and cut back and now go back to the edge. He's got the first down. He's got a couple of guys in front of him, but he's forced out inside the 35-yard line, right about that line I told you need to meet it. It's 6.5 to play. So we'll see what PCS is able to do with it the last 6 minutes of this one, as Norton rips off a big run there of about 20 yards.
And that was just a nice run on Hunter's part. The Volunteers had it stopped. He cut back inside, found a seam, cut back outside, and just raced down probably about 30 yards for a first down.
Clock hits 6 minutes to play, fourth quarter, and again, it's been rolling ever since the kickoff of the second half, which seems about like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, it'll help everybody get home or get settled sooner tonight.
And it'll be quarterback sneak by Broadhead over the left side, still running, and finally driven out of bounds after a first down. So just trying to bury his head and keep the clock running with the ball in bounds. Broadhead moves the chains for another first down.
Nice job of running by Robbie. Just ran over some folks. That's probably why he's probably been playing some fullback tonight.
Well, somebody's got to stop me.
That's right. Robbie, a senior athlete, transferred in a couple of years ago from seminary. Done a good job for the Bobcats this year. Also the backup quarterback, but played a lot on defense.
He's one of the guys, just like Steven, that you can plug and play anywhere. He's played some linebacker, some safety, some corner. He's played all over the field, fullback, some wingback, and you see him at quarterback now. He's one of those glue guys. As Chris Herron gets this carry over the left side, trying to cut back, he'll have a short gain on that play as Chris Herron getting some run on offense now.
Yeah, Chris Herron played a lot of cornerback this year. Chris, really probably the second fastest Bobcat player. Fate Island, the fastest. I think Chris's 40 time was after that. So get him the ball, get him an open field, and anything can happen.
And you mentioned the fact that Robbie Broadhead transferred in, and I had an opportunity to teach Robbie the year that he transferred in, and just a very, very fine young man, great student. Takes care of things in the classroom, and everything's yes or no, sir. So just another example of the good kids that we have here at PCS. Another one gets to carry here, Austin Riles at fullback, and he'll get to the line of scrimmage, and nothing further there. 4 minutes to play in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Austin Riles getting a carry. Glad to see that. Austin may be pound for pound the toughest kid at PCS.
I'm going to refer back to my roster here and see exactly how Coach Hawkins listed Austin Riles on the roster. We all know how that roster goes. 5'6", 130. 5'6" is being generous.
That may be stretching it, yeah.
Broadhead waiting on the play clock to wind all the way down. Jonathan Burks now in at some wing back position. He'll go in motion. He'll get the carry. Speeding right side. Burks, another one of those speedsters. He's got the edge and forced out at the 11-yard line.
With the running clock heading out of bounds does not make a difference. Keep that thing rolling.
It'll wind under 3 minutes to play before this snap is taken. And I want to make sure I get all the names mentioned of everyone that's gotten in the ballgame. I believe I have.
First down, 10.
As it looks like PCS will move to 9-2 on the year, tying the school record for wins in a season.
Let's hope the Patriots are still pulling up, adding points to the scoreboard down in Macomb.
Burks will go in motion. They give middle to Riles, and he'll be stacked up for a loss on the play.
For the Volunteers, number 70, Rivers Robinson. On the tackle.
See if I can't get an update on that game.
Yeah, just a straight dive handoff to Austin Riles. Starkville defense stuffing it, but that's okay. We do not have to score. We just need to hang on to the ball and run this clock down. Yep, we're going to the victory formation here. Just going to run this clock out.
Into the third quarter, MRA is still leading Jay 13-7. Into the third also, Magnolia Heights leading 13-7. Excuse me, 13-6. 13-6 over Washington.
If the prep lead holds up against Park Lane, her Bobcats will go to Madison next week to play the MRA Patriots.
That'll break a little bit of a trend. Robbie Broadhead takes a snap and a knee with 90 seconds to play. The trend the last 2 seasons has been start the year with JA, and that's the final game of the year against JA at the Brickyard in the playoffs. And so this will be, if that score holds true, we'll have to make that trip a little bit farther north.
Yeah, but at least it'll be something different this year. So
variety is the spice of life, I hear.
There you go. Patriots, MRA Patriots, wide open team. Their coach, the former St. Stanislaus coach when Dylan Farr was the quarterback down there. So he likes to throw it around, and Bobcats not known for their pass defense at times this year.
Well, I'll say this. The spread has given a little bit of problems, but at the same time, the only time they faced a true spread was East Rankin, as we now have JA on the board, 14-13. And JA's been a little bit of a second-half team this year. They've come from behind to win several ball games here of late. And we got one more snap here, and this one will be done. But
we still may be going back to Ridgewood Road here next week. We'll see. I guess we crowned the MRA Patriots too soon.
Got talking about that little change there. That kneel down will do it for this one. And the Bobcats move to 9-2. They have tied the school record, and this senior class has now moved into moved to be the winningest class in PCS history. This is 25 wins for this senior team, and that puts them as the winningest, and all they know is the playoffs. They, as sophomores, playoffs, as juniors, playoffs, and as seniors, playoffs again. As we'll put an asterisk beside that for now as we await the final from Jackson Prep and Park Lane. As we got done a little early here in Starkville, which will be nice on that ride home. But we're going to wrap this one up here pretty quick. PCS victorious 31-14 over Starkville Academy. For Chip Jones, I am Nathan Dancy. We're going to sign off here and see you down the road. Pay attention to the school website and the Twitter feed if you follow us on Twitter for scoring updates and playoff matchups, as those are still up in the air and yet to be determined. Well, Chip, it's been a good year. The 9-2 mark. It's been a fun year. And I thank you for joining me. I can't thank you enough for all the things that you do for PCS, and especially for helping me here finish off the year on the air. And that'll do it for this one. The Bobcats again victorious, and you can paint yet another Friday night Bobcat blue and white. 31-14, Bobcats win. We'll see you down the road.